or tap the blue safety shield while on a trip. Taking control of your ride is quick, easy, and all in one place. That's safety simplified for the bird.
Up to 50,000 cars out of date on cars.com. Where to next?
No trace.
They found the car keys laying on the ground, red high-heeled shoes. You can see drag marks.
Welcome to Daybreak. I'm Jody Husentroop.
KINT News anchor Jody Husentroop was just 27 at the time of her disappearance.
She told me she thought someone was following her. Maybe this is it. Maybe we're gonna find her now.
Holy crap, this is really real.
Let's find Jody. Her last broadcast, only on Hulu. If you're ready for a wild ride, then I'm your girl.
How wild?
Mel has never been exposed to women like us. I don't know how he can handle it all.
To love, happiness, and fun.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, New York City Mayor Eric Adams is ending his re-election campaign. In a video released on social media, Adams says it was impossible to stay in the race due to constant media speculation about his future and funding issues. Now, Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani is saying that Adams leaving the field benefits the president, saying Trump, quote, knows that Andrew Cuomo will clear the way for his agenda. ABC political director Avery Harper joins me for more. Avery, how does Adams' exit impact the race now?
Well, listen, I think it's unlikely that we'll see some of Adams' former competitors benefit from him exiting the race, folks like Curtis Sliwa and Andrew Cuomo, because he just had so little support in the first place. When he dropped out on Sunday, he was polling in the double digits. You know, when you look at what's happening in the dynamic of this race right now, we know that Zohran Mamdani is leading by double digits for his closest competitor, Andrew Cuomo. But we are in the sprint to election day, and things can quickly change in this race. We know that the candidates remain in the race will be on the debate stage come mid-October, and that could be a big moment.
How extraordinary is it for an incumbent mayor to leave the race this late in the game?
Right. I mean, there is power in incumbency, and so typically, Eric Adams would have been
for those who don't know,
taking a lot of photos, saying a lot of, reading a lot of
this race has been anything other than normal, with that indictment that Eric Adams had really hampering his ability to fundraise early on in this race. And then when those charges were dropped, there was a perceived coziness between Eric Adams and the Trump administration. I think that eroded his popularity even more and arguably boosted Zohran Mamdani in this race. And so, you know, we'll see what happens come election day. Eric Adams will still be on the ballot. It's actually too late for him to be taken off the ballot there. But we will see one of these other candidates possibly ascend to grace leadership.
The president had been vocal about Adams dropping out to consolidate opposition against Mamdani. How is he reacting now?
Right. So we actually saw the president post to social media about Zohran Mamdani. He actually did not mention Eric Adams dropping out at all. Yes, like you mentioned, he did say that he wanted to see some folks drop out of this race to make it harder for Mamdani to claim and to win this race. We did see him post, and he essentially warned that if Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York City, that Mamdani is going to have problems with Washington, D.C. He is dangling the threat of withholding funding from New York City in order for Mamdani not to be able to fulfill many of his campaign promises. He says that, what is the point of voting voting for him. So we'll see Trump continuing to frame himself as a direct foil to Mamdani in the run-up to the election, and ultimately that could be a boon to Mamdani. I think there is some anti-Trump sentiment that has boosted his election bid.
All right, Avery Harper, thank you. And the governor of Illinois is holding a press conference today after ICE agents swarmed downtown Chicago. Residents say Border Patrol agents are patrolling the Chicago River on foot and by boat. During a raid near Millennium Park, they appeared to detain a family, including a woman and multiple children. Protesters rallying outside an ICE detention center also say the agents used mace and pepper bullets against them. Now Homeland Security says it's investigating possible explosives found near an ICE facility in the area. And investigators say a thwarted plot to disrupt cell service in New York was bigger than they first realized. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News federal agents are discovering additional locations and more equipment set to be targeted. They say it could have crippled every cell tower in New York City and even jammed 911 calls. The sources also say agents found 200,000 more SIM cards in New Jersey after finding 100,000 SIM cards and hundreds of servers at vacant offices and apartments around New York City. Now investigators are trying to track down who rented those spaces. So far, police haven't made any arrests. Coming up, what the CDC is now saying about the worst flu season on record. Dr. Sutton's here with what you need to know in today's checkup right after this break.
All Uber drivers pass a background check before their first ride and are rescreened every year. So no matter where you're going, you can travel with added peace of mind every time you ride. That's safety simplified. Uber.
If you qualify for Medicare and Medi-Cal, Kaiser Permanente has a plan for you with extra perks, including a dedicated care coordinator. Visit kp.org/partner to see if you qualify. Kaiser Permanente.
Build credit with an average increase of 47 points and a credit builder plan that can put you in control. Start building credit today.
The essence of driving is gripping the road, keeping momentum, and responding with precision. A brand by Hankook, a tire that fits Laufin.
Welcome to the Argo Rewards Center, where we make sure you're earning at least 5 cents in rewards on every gallon.
Good morning, America.
Welcome back to ABC News Live First. A new CDC report shows flu hospitalizations hit a record high last season. 280 children also died from the flu, making it the highest number of deaths in a single season. Now medical experts are advising to get your flu shot before Halloween. ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton's here with more in today's checkup. So Dr. Sutton, why was the flu so bad last year?
A combination of factors. Number one, you had a circulating strain that's just simply bringing more people to the emergency room, but then there's also a decrease in the participation to the flu vaccine. And unfortunately, from those numbers, we can see that play out. You know, of the 280 children, more than almost 90% were not fully vaccinated. And beyond that, really important to understand, half of those children that lost their lives to flu had no underlying medical condition. We always looked at these cases to try to understand the why. And really, when you point out in most of those cases, the lack of protection was a really important variable that led to their hospitalization.
Does this offer any insight into this year's flu season, or is it just completely different season to season?
That's a great question. Every year is a little bit of a prediction game when you're trying to understand what strain is going to circulate and how severe it might be. Right now, it's difficult to say how this season will play out, but what's important to understand is that with reduced participation in vaccines, that means that our overall community immunity is relatively low, that increases your risk of exposure, increases the risk of transmission, so on and so forth. So important to pay attention to those risks.
So who should get the flu shot, and what else can we do to protect ourselves?
So the CDC recommends that anyone over the age of 6 months talk to their provider about getting a flu vaccine. In terms of who's the most at risk, now we look to the highest risk groups, including those over the age of 65, mothers who are postpartum or peripartum, very important to pay attention to. Also, pregnant mothers, important to understand that risk increases your risk of pregnancy complications if you were to get infected. And then those who have chronic illness, those who live with diabetes or heart disease, these are important things to talk to your provider about because that protection can be beneficial. Now, the flu vaccine is not perfect, but it reduces your risk of death or severe illness from the flu by about 40 to 60% that we can understand from prior projections. That is important to compare, for example, to a seatbelt. Every day when you plug in and lock in your seatbelt, that's reducing your risk by about 40 to 60%. So think about it in the same way.
And how can we build up our immune systems ahead of cold and flu season? Is that a thing? I've got elderberry syrup all over my social media feeds. Is that a thing?
You know, the data behind elderberries is not that great, but there are certain things you can pay attention to. For example, vitamin D, we do see definitive data that shows an association. Those who have a higher level of vitamin D tend to have lower complications. So you want to look for that mainly in your food before you go out and buy the supplement. Vitamin C is another vitamin that you can think of, and then omega-3s are really important. Those all can help with your immune system, but beyond that, those basic mitigation efforts that we know to be true, washing our hands more regularly, avoiding touching our face, and then if we're going to a crowded space like a subway or a bus, having that extra mask can be really helpful to reduce your risk of exposure.
All right, I'll hold off on making my own elderberry gummies. Thank you for saving me that work. ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton, thank you.
Of course.
And today is National Coffee Day. Chains like Dunkin', Starbucks, Circle K are offering deals through their apps. And at Krispy Kreme, for the third day in a row, you can get a free donut and coffee thanks to the company spokesperson, Joe Jonas. U.S. coffee drinkers drink on average a little more than 2 cups of coffee per day. Coffee prices are up 20% compared to last year, so take advantage of those deals today. I'm Diane Macedo. The news never stops, and neither do we. We have a lot more news right after the break. Stay with us.
Want to make sure you're getting in the right ride every time? Turn on PIN verification in the Uber app, and your ride will only begin when your driver enters your unique 4-digit passcode. That's safety simplified. Uber.
The new fam feast with 8 pieces of fire-grilled chicken. Let's get loco. El Pollo Loco.
Grip, stability, precision. That's the essence of driving. Lawfit.
Live.
Hi, I'm Diane Macedo. Today on ABC News Live. First, President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are meeting at the White House right now. Ahead of that meeting, the White House said they were very close to all sides agreeing to a comprehensive plan to end the war in Gaza.
President Trump, are you confident, sir, there'll be peace in Gaza anytime soon? And the 21-point plan, is everyone on board?
Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers, foreign correspondent Marcus Moore, and ABC News contributor and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy, for more. Karen, what are you watching for in this meeting?
Diane, as you saw there from the president, he continues to strike a very optimistic tone that this peace plan that his administration presented last week, 21-point plan, is the thing that will get across the finish line and achieve an actual peace in Gaza. The president had said yesterday he thinks that there is a real chance of greatness in the Middle East. He's been saying for days that he thinks that all sides right now are on the cusp of a breakthrough. We heard that as well from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt this morning, who said that she thinks they are very close to getting something done. But notably, Diane, Caroline also said that at this point, this deal that the administration has put forward, and the president's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, has met with Prime Minister Netanyahu to discuss this. Caroline Leavitt said that this is as good as it gets right now for all sides, and that potentially people on both sides are going to walk away unhappy, but that's what happens when you get to this point, and you're not going to get a better deal than this.
Marcus, the president said he's very confident they can reach a deal here. Netanyahu didn't say anything. How much is he willing to compromise going into this meeting?
Well, he signaled that perhaps that he would be willing to compromise, but exactly how much really remains to be seen. What we've heard from sources is that there are differences between the Israeli government and also U.S. officials on Trump's Gaza plan, particularly about the role of the Palestinian Authority in the post-war Gaza, as well as the extent of the Israeli security control and also the freedom of action in a post-war Gaza. Will the IDF be able to go back into Gaza to carry out missions? And then another point we understand from sources, or point of some diversion or disagreement, is the pace and the timeline of Hamas disarming. And as you know, Diane, these are points that have proven difficult to overcome in previous discussions that have occurred regarding a ceasefire agreement. So while the president is expressing some optimism about them perhaps reaching a deal that is imminent, we have of course been down this road before, and certainly a lot of people will be watching what happens during this news conference that's expected.
Mick, the White House says the president thinks Netanyahu will agree to this 21-point plan today. We heard President Trump say he's very confident just now. What does it mean for both sides if they can come together on this? Is it enough to actually end this war?
And I think it is, quite frankly. It's a very comprehensive plan that offers much to both sides. From the Palestinian side, it basically says there will be no forced relocation of Palestinians out of Gaza. It says there will be no annexation of parts of the West Bank for Israel. It includes an assurance that Hamas is not part of the governance and that they are disarmed, and that the group that would replace them to stabilize Gaza would be vetted and approved by Israel. And of course, it looks to expand the Abraham Accords, which is a big benefit to Israel. There is a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of issues that Israel, particularly Prime Minister Netanyahu, would like to see adjusted. But if that can be adjusted and both sides can agree, this would be.
Authorities are holding a briefing on the deadly mass shooting and arson attack at a Michigan Mormon church over the weekend, and that briefing is getting started. Let's listen.
FBI Acting Special Agent in Charge Reuben Coleman, Sheriff Chris Swanson, Genesee County Sheriff, and Chief William Reddy, Grand Blanc Township Police Department. Thank you. I'm here as governor to bring the full support of the entire state of Michigan to this community. I want to thank all of our local law enforcement, state police, federal agents for their swift response. I want to thank local fire, EMS, and medical providers for saving lives and caring for those who are still fighting for their lives in the hospital. And thank the incredible Department of Natural Resources Conservation Officer and the local Grand Blanc officer for their brave actions to take down the shooter and their quick response. I think we can see the best of public service in all of these individuals. As I said, I'm here as the governor, but I'm also here as a fellow Michigander whose heart is breaking by another mass shooting in a place that is supposed to be defined by togetherness, in a close-knit community here in Grand Blanc. As a state, we know the pain of this too well. We've seen gun violence in our schools, stores, parades, festivals, and our houses of worship. These are places that we go to feel connected, to feel safe, to be together. But today, this place has been shattered by bullets and broken glass. And this might be a familiar pain, but it hurts all the same. Every time. We cannot keep living our lives like this. I know that this community is reeling right now, but I want you to know that the state of Michigan has your back. Your grief is our grief. I ordered flags lowered statewide, and I spoke with President Trump yesterday, who wanted to share his condolences. We will be here every step of the way and coordinate a full response with our local and federal partners. Folks here at the township, at every level, are working closely together. And there's one thing I know about Michiganders, is that we get through hard things together. And that's who we are. That's how the good people here at the Grand Blanc Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints live their lives. They worship together, they sing together, and they serve together. And that's why I was so proud to see powerful statements from interfaith leaders across Michigan denouncing this attack on a house of worship. They grieved for this congregation as though it was their own. They spoke with one voice for the basic principle that we all believe in, that you should be able to pray in peace in our state, no matter who you are. I know that in the hours and days ahead, we will see the best of Michigan. We will see neighbors being neighborly, checking in with a call, bringing over some food, or offering a hug. We'll see medical providers work hard to save lives and treat those in need, with scars both seen and unseen. We will see this congregation unite and rally together like never before, and continue worshiping together, singing together, and serving together. Because that's who Michiganders are. We will stay in close contact and continue to work together. Now, like everyone I know, we have lots of questions. How did this happen? What created this moment? Why? And that's motivated by a genuine motivation to understand, to learn, to prevent in the future. But I want to caution everyone. While we are working hard, while the good men and women who are working hard are doing so with due diligence, at this juncture, speculation is unhelpful and it can be downright dangerous. So, just ask that people lower the temperature of rhetoric. Keep your loved ones close and keep this community close to your hearts. Let's keep doing the work together. Let's be kind and let's love our neighbors. Thank you, and now I'd like to introduce the head of the Michigan State Police, Colonel James Grady.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon. And this community has been greatly impacted by yesterday's events. We are offering our deepest condolences to those affected by this tragedy. This horrific event is something that this community has never experienced. It is important at this time that we come together to support one another in this time of grief. We stand ready and willing to assist both our local and federal partners with any additional needs as this investigation continues. The Michigan State Police immediately responded alongside our public safety partners to secure the scene, provide support to our neighbors, with our emergency support team searching search warrants. The bomb squad and K-9 team sweeping numerous locations for evidence and explosives. Additionally, our forensic science laboratories and our special investigation section continue to investigate the officer-involved shooting and work alongside our federal and local partners. I'd like to take a moment for everybody to remember that last year we put together an initiative called Stop and Fly. 53% of mass attacks leave a trail of clues leading up to them. And 2/3 of mass attackers elicited behavior that cause concerns. So we are asking our communities to stay vigilant. If you see something suspicious, please contact local law enforcement or 911 immediately. We'll keep the family in our prayers here at MSP as they continue to cover and we work together. Thank you for your time. Next up, we will have from the AT. Thank you. We will have ATS Special Agent in charge for Michigan, James Deere.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Deere with ATF. I'm the Special Agent in charge for ATF Michigan. On behalf of the men and women of ATF, I offer my deepest sympathy and condolences to this community and to the families affected by this tragedy, this horrific act of violence. There is no place in our society for this. There's absolutely no place. But it's become all too common. And as we know, we have become more and more desensitized. This community is hurting, and we are here to help them heal. As part of that healing process, ATF has brought in their national response team. This is a cadre of world-renowned investigators for arson and explosive incidents. They have been used all over the world, and they come from places as far as California, Hawaii, and they're here in Michigan now. They arrived last night. They've briefed. They're examining the scene, and that is what they're doing at this point. From ATF's perspective, I would encourage the community not to travel by the church. Those roads have been blocked off, and access is controlled. While that might be a little disheveling for folks, that it needs to carry that scene security.
Really, it's on some Tennessee that ain't mine. I should call it off of where we're standing. Cause girl, you're wasted and I don't wanna waste my time. Looking in your eyes, baby, I don't even see it. Running around with you.
Keep it in mind for later.
Genau.